The grand meeting hall was filled with angry voices. Aliens from 70 different worlds stood together, all shouting at the human standing in the middle. Ambassador Una Park did not move. She kept her hands behind her back and her face calm. "You are monsters," the Visian leader said, his tentacles waving wildly. "Your people killed without mercy." Una looked around the room slowly. She could see the anger in their eyes. None of them understood yet. But they would. "The Krovar pirates took 200 humans from our mining station," she said clearly. "They wanted weapons and technology. They said they would kill our people if we did not give them what they wanted. You all expected us to agree." "Yes. That is how civilized beings act," another alien said, his feathers standing up. "You talk and make deals. That is how you save lives." "They killed 17 of our people before we even arrived," Una said coldly. "They shot them in the head while you were preparing your negotiation papers. Tell those dead families about your civilized way." The room went quiet. 3 weeks ago the mining station went dark. The Krovar sent their demands to every communication channel in the galaxy. They showed human colonists on their knees with guns pointed at their heads. The pirates wanted advanced weapons, safe places to hide in human space, and a promise that no one would punish them. The Galactic Council had prepared mediators. They had written compromise agreements. They had planned long talks. Humanity sent soldiers instead. Una made a hologram appear in the air, forcing everyone to watch. The attack on the Krovar base played out in front of them. Human soldiers moved through the hallways like silent shadows. The pirates never had time to react. 12 minutes, Una said softly. That is how long it took Commander Taeyang Kim and his team to kill every pirate, save every hostage and destroy the Krovar's main base. Not one human colonist died during the rescue. "But you killed 300 Krovar," the Visian protested. 300 murderers, Una corrected him. "Who killed thousands of beings from many species over the past 10 years. Where was your anger then? Where were your rescue missions for the Valerian children taken from transport ships? The Pelthian scientists who were cut apart and sold?" One of the crystalline Valorians stood up slowly. "The human speaks the truth. My government lost 47 children to Krovar attacks in 5 years. This council never sent soldiers to help us." Whispers spread through the chamber. "We pay money to get our people back," the feathered alien said defensively. "We negotiate. Fighting only creates more fighting." "Your ransom payments give them money for more attacks," Una said firmly. "Your negotiations teach them that kidnapping works. You call it civilization. We call it helping evil." She closed the hologram and faced the council directly. "Humans have a rule. We do not negotiate with terrorists. Not because we are barbaric. Because we refuse to teach evil people that kidnapping is profitable." Somewhere across the galaxy, Commander Taeyang Kim sat in a military ship, looking at reports from the Krovar base. Captain Hyojin Lee sat across from him. "The council wants to punish you," Hyojin said quietly. "They can try." Taeyang's voice was empty of emotion. He had lost that ability when he found the execution room. 17 bodies. People murdered to prove the Krovar were serious. "Sir, you saved 183 people. 17 were not enough." He stood and looked out the window at Earth floating in space. "What do the commanders say?" "Fleet Admiral Miho Song wants to give you an award. Publicly we are saying your force was excessive. Privately he wants you to train every special operations team we have." Taeyang nodded slowly. "The Krovar will not accept this." "No," Hyojin agreed. "Intelligence thinks they are planning revenge. They think we will surrender if they hit the right target. Then they do not know humans very well." As if his words made it happen, the communication screen lit up. The message that appeared made both officers freeze. The diplomatic ship carrying Ambassador Una Park had been captured. The Krovar had her. They were demanding immediate negotiations. Taeyang and Hyojin looked at each other. "Here we go," the commander said quietly. Across the galaxy, the Krovar Syndicate was about to learn the hardest lesson of their existence. When humans said they did not negotiate with terrorists, they meant every single word. The pirates thought taking the ambassador would make humans weak. They thought wrong. They had just signed their own death sentence and they did not even know it yet. The olive branch was supposed to be a symbol of peace. It was a white ship with no weapons, carrying only diplomats and cultural workers. Now it floated in empty space, surrounded by 7 Krovar warships with their guns pointed at it like hungry wolves. Inside the ship's conference room, Ambassador Una Park sat with perfect posture. Her hands were folded on the table. 12 Krovar pirates filled the room, their armor clicking as they moved. They were laughing at her. The Krovar war chief, a massive creature named Vrax, stood over her. You humans think you are strong. Untouchable. Commander Kim's attack was impressive, but it meant nothing. Yuna said nothing. You killed 300 of my people. Now we have you. You are humanity's voice to the galaxy. Do you understand what this means? Perfectly, Yuna replied calmly. You have made a terrible mistake. Vrax's jaw opened wide in what might have been a smile. Brave words for someone so helpless. Let me tell you what will happen. Your government will give us the weapons we demanded. They will give us safe territory in 10 systems. And they will pay us money for the warriors Kim murdered. No, Yuna said simply. Then you die and we take the next human ship and the next until... You misunderstand. Yuna's eyes were like ice. I'm not saying my government will refuse. I'm saying you have already lost. The moment you took this ship, you signed your death warrant. Vrax hit her across the face hard enough to snap her head sideways. Blood dripped from her split lip. You will learn respect. Yuna slowly turned back to face him. Despite the pain, her expression did not change. You should have studied us more carefully. We do not bluff. When we say we do not negotiate with terrorists, we mean it. 30 minutes later, the Krovar began their broadcast. It went to every major communication network in the galaxy. Yuna appeared on screens in the council chambers, in homes on 1,000 worlds, in human colonies across 50 systems. I am Ambassador Yuna Park, she said. Her face was already bruising from Vrax's blow. The Krovar Syndicate has taken this vessel and its crew hostage. They believe humanity will negotiate for our release. Behind her, Vrax stepped into the camera view. Your ambassador speaks truth. Our demands are simple. Technology, territory, and money. You have 48 hours to comply, or we begin killing hostages. Starting with her. But Yuna was not finished. Despite the weapons pointed at her, despite the blood on her face, she looked directly into the camera. To my government. Article 7. Clear and present danger. Do not negotiate. I repeat, do not negotiate. End them. The transmission cut off. On Earth, in the Human Military Command Center, Fleet Admiral Miho Song watched the replay 3 times before speaking. The Joint Chiefs stood around him in grim silence. She invoked Article 7, General Daeho Choi said quietly. She is asking us to write her off as already dead. She is asking us to do our jobs, Miho corrected. He turned to the officers. The Krovar think this is a negotiation. They are wrong. This is an extermination. The Council will condemn us even harder than before, warned Admiral Saminhan. Let them. Miho brought up the tactical display showing known Krovar positions throughout the galaxy. We did not ask for this fight, but they have given us no choice. The Krovar Syndicate ends. Not just this cell. Not just these ships. All of them. That is a big task, sir, Commander Jiho Park said. They operate in 47 systems. They have support networks, supply chains, hidden bases, which our intelligence has been mapping for the past 3 weeks, ever since Commander Kim's raid. Miho smiled grimly. Did you think we rescued those colonists just to feel good? We pulled every computer core from that base. We know where the Krovar operate, where they hide, who funds them, who shelters them. He pressed a button. The tactical display exploded with hundreds of red markers. The Krovar think they are a galaxy-wide organization. They are right. Which means we need a galaxy-wide response. Miho's voice became hard as steel. Activate the 3rd, 5th, and 7th fleets. Authorize all special operations teams. And send a message to every species harboring these pirates. They have 24 hours to kick out all Krovar from their territory, or they become our enemies too. Sir, that will make us very unpopular, Samin said. I do not care about popular. I care about effective. Miho looked at each officer. Our ambassador is out there ready to die for her principles. Thousands of beings from dozens of species are rotting in Krovar slave camps while the galaxy debates protocol. I am done debating. He activated the fleet-wide communication system. Every human military vessel in the galaxy would receive this message at the same time. This is Fleet Admiral Miho Song. As of this moment, the Krovar Syndicate is classified as an enemy at war with humanity. Our mission is simple. Total elimination of all Krovar military capability. You are authorized to fire on all confirmed Krovar combatants. Rescue any hostages you find, but understand this clearly. We will not negotiate, we will not compromise, and we will not stop until every last Krovar pirate is either in prison or dead. They wanted to teach humanity a lesson about power. Let us teach them about commitment. All ships, all teams, Execute Operation Righteous Fury. Admiral song out. Across human-controlled space, warships began to move. In the Galactic Council chambers, emergency sessions were called. Species scrambled to distance themselves from any Crovar connections. And in the diplomatic channels, messages began flooding in. Some condemned humanity's aggression. Others quietly asked how they could help. Aboard the Olive Branch, Vrax watched the human fleet movements on his sensors and felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. They are mobilizing everything, his officer reported nervously. 3 full fleets. Multiple strike teams. They are not even pretending to negotiate. Yuna, locked in the conference room with the other hostages, allowed herself a small smile despite her swollen face. Humans always kept their promises. Even the terrible ones. The Vicien Commerce Guild's orbital station hung in space like a giant bronze spider. Its massive cargo bays processed goods from 100 worlds. Director Velthon had built an empire on one simple rule. Ask no questions, care about nothing except profit. That rule was about to cost him everything. 3 human destroyers appeared outside his station without warning. Velthon's hearts began racing with panic. This is Commander Haywen Jean of the Human Navy. The communication came through cold and clear. You have Crovar pirates currently docked in your western bay. You have 10 minutes to evacuate all non-Crovar personnel from that section. After that, we are coming in. Velthon's tentacles shook. This is a violation of commercial sovereignty. The Vicien government has been notified and chosen not to intervene. 9 minutes, 30 seconds. The Crovar ship in Bay 14 detected the human approach and tried to run. It made it exactly 300 meters before precision weapons fire turned its engines into melted metal. Boarding pods launched from the destroyers, locking onto the crippled vessel. What happened next took 4 minutes. When the human soldiers came out, they carried no prisoners. In the Pelthian research system, a hidden asteroid base had served as a Crovar supply center for 15 years. The Pelthian government knew about it but looked the other way. The bribes from the Crovar had funded entire government departments. The base's sensors never detected the human stealth ship until soldiers were already inside their walls. Lieutenant Jaiwan Song led her squad through corridors that smelled of rust and fear. They found the computer cores first. Evidence of every transaction, every species that had dealt with the Crovar, every being sold into slavery. Jaiwan uploaded everything to Fleet Intelligence. Then they found the holding cells. 47 beings from 12 different species, including 6 Pelthian children. The same children who had been missing for 2 years while their government claimed to be investigating. Get them to medical, Jaiwan ordered. And make sure footage of this goes public. I want the entire galaxy to see what their civilized negotiations allowed to happen. The Crovar defenders never had a chance to surrender. The humans did not ask. Across the galaxy, in system after system, the pattern repeated. Human forces struck with surgical precision, tearing apart the Crovar infrastructure piece by piece. No ransoms demanded. No territory requested. Just cold, mechanical destruction. In the Valerian system, Captain Suho Yang's cruiser received unexpected help. 3 Valerian military vessels appeared alongside his ship, their weapons hot and ready. Captain Yang, the Valerian commander Hexval transmitted. We have intelligence on a Crovar slave facility on the 4th moon's southern hemisphere. Our government cannot officially help you. But our sensors are experiencing technical difficulties for the next 6 hours. Suho understood immediately. Understood, Commander. We will handle the facility. If you happen to find any Valerian citizens during your technical difficulties, I am sure they would be grateful. Indeed. There was satisfaction in the crystalline being's voice. Happy hunting, Captain. The facility fell within the hour. 231 slaves freed, including 42 Valorians. When Hexval's ships officially discovered them, the Valerian government's outrage at the Crovar was genuine. So was their quiet gratitude to humanity. Fleet Admiral Miho Song studied the reports in his operations center. Holographic displays showed human forces executing operations in 37 systems at the same time. The Crovar syndicate was collapsing faster than even his best predictions. Admiral, we are receiving protests from 16 council species, his communications officer reported. Are any of them actually interfering with our operations? No, sir. Actually, we are getting quiet intelligence feeds from 11 different species, including 2 that are publicly condemning us. Miho smiled grimly. Because they want the Crovar gone but cannot risk doing it themselves. File the protests, thank the intelligence sources and keep moving. Sir, We intercepted a communication from Krovar Central Command to all their cells. They are ordering attacks on civilian human targets, trying to force us to negotiate. Let me guess. They are threatening to kill Ambassador Park if we do not stop. Yes, sir. Miho was quiet for a moment. Yuna Park was a friend, had been since the academy. But she had invoked Article 7 for exactly this reason. To remove herself as a bargaining chip. To give humanity permission to finish the job regardless of the cost. Continue operations, he said softly. And activate the Wraith teams. I want the Krovar command structure eliminated within 72 hours. All of it, sir? All of it. The Wraith teams were humanity's darkest secret. Special operations soldiers enhanced with advanced technology, trained in infiltration and assassination. They moved through the galaxy like ghosts, leaving no trace except empty command chairs. In the Gorvan sector, Krovar Fleet Master Zolth was coordinating his forces when his personal guards simply stopped. Their bodies hit the floor before he could even trigger an alarm. A figure in black armor appeared from nowhere. Your organization dies today, Sergeant Mina Kong said. It was the last thing Zolth ever heard. In the Kelthian system, Krovar Logistics Director Prex discovered that the 4 trusted advisors who had served him for years were actually deep-cover human intelligence agents. They had documented every transaction, every shipment, every slave sold. Before he could run, they had already dismantled his entire operation. The Krovar's greatest strength had always been their scattered command structure. No single leader, no central weakness. They were like a creature with many heads, impossible to kill completely. But humanity had spent 3 weeks mapping every head. Now they cut them off all at once. Aboard the Olive Branch, Vrax watched his empire burn on the news feeds. Every major Krovar base under attack. Every battle ending in human victory. His commanders were going silent one by one. This is impossible, Vrax snarled. How did they even know where to strike? Yuna, still locked in the conference room, spoke from her corner. You really should have studied us better. When Commander Kim raided your base, did you think he just smashed computers? We downloaded everything. Every contact, every account, every species that helped you. We have been planning this for weeks. Then we kill you and nothing changes. I'm not a bargaining chip. I am a casualty of war. But my death will not stop what is coming for you. Yuna's eyes were hard. You wanted to teach humanity about power. Congratulations. Class is in session. The holographic news feeds displayed across 1,000 worlds showed the same images. Human warships engaging Krovar vessels, boarding operations on pirate bases, and most shocking of all, the liberated slave camps. In the Valonian capital, Ambassador Thelnox watched footage of human soldiers carrying thin, starving children from a Krovar processing facility. Children from 19 different species, including 4 Valonian younglings that had been declared lost in space accidents 3 years ago. His feathers drooped in shame. They were alive all this time, his aide whispered. While we negotiated and debated. Thelnox could not speak. On the screen, a human medic, a young woman whose name tag read Lieutenant Park Sora, was gently wrapping a Valonian child in a warm blanket. She spoke softly to calm the terrified youngling. The child clung to her as if she were salvation itself. And perhaps she was. In the Galactic Council chambers, the atmosphere had changed from outrage to something more complex. Ambassador Yuna Park's broken transmission had been replayed countless times. Her bruised face, her calm invocation of Article 7, her willingness to die rather than let her capture become leverage. It had struck a chord with beings who had thought humanity barbaric. She chose death over compromise, the Pelthian counselor said quietly. That is not barbarism. That is conviction. The Thesian representative Velkar was less convinced. It is fanaticism. They are tearing through our space, making demands, threatening sovereign governments. Governments that sheltered pirates, Hexval interrupted. The Valorian's crystalline form pulsed with anger. My species submitted evidence 3 days ago. 17 council species have been providing material support to the Krovar. The Thesian Commerce Guild alone laundered 400 million credits in ransom payments last year. That is commerce, not. It is helping slavery, piracy, and murder. Hexval's voice cut like broken glass. The humans are simply doing what we lack the courage to do. The chamber erupted in argument. Some species condemned humanity's actions. Others, quietly at first but with growing volume, began asking difficult questions about their own policies. The peaceful coalition of aligned worlds, led by Thelnox, called for an emergency vote to condemn humanity and demand immediate stop of military operations. The motion failed. Barely, but it failed. 18 species abstained. 7 voted against. The coalition's moral authority crumbled as after being stood to share their own stories of loss to Crovar raids. Losses their governments had done nothing to prevent. In a private chamber, several ambassadors gathered in secret. The Valerian Hexval, the Kelthian matriarch Saravoth, the Gorvan High Commander Trell, and 3 others. Species that publicly maintained neutral positions but privately understood what humanity was accomplishing. The humans are willing to be seen as villains to do what is right, Saravoth said. I find that admirable. Dangerous, Trell countered. But necessary. My intelligence service has been feeding them Crovar locations in our territory. We simply cannot publicly acknowledge it. Same here, another ambassador admitted. The Crovar had friends in my government. Bribes, blackmail, the usual. But human intelligence gave us evidence to clean house. We are grateful even if we cannot say so. Hexval pulsed thoughtfully. Then perhaps we should say so. Not publicly, not yet. But the humans should know they are not alone. In the Human Military Command Center, Fleet Admiral Miho Song received a coded transmission from Valerian intelligence. Coordinates for 3 Crovar command vessels hiding in neutral territory. An hour later he received similar intelligence from 2 more species. They are helping us, Admiral Saminhan observed. Even while their governments condemn us publicly. Because they understand the game, Miho replied. We take the political heat, they get rid of their pirate problem, and everyone wins. Except the Crovar. Sir, new situation. Commander Jiho Park brought up a tactical display. The Crovar are making a desperate play. They are moving all remaining forces toward their last major stronghold in the Varix Nebula. Looks like they are planning a final stand. With Ambassador Park still hostage aboard the Olive Branch? Yes, sir. They are betting we will not assault while she is there. Miho studied the display. The Varix Nebula was a navigation nightmare. Sensor-dampening gases, gravitational problems, perfect for defense. The Crovar had fortified it heavily. A direct assault would cost human lives. He was considering options when a priority transmission came through. The sender surprised him. Ambassador Thelnox of the Peaceful Coalition. Admiral Song, the Velonian began. His translator conveyed embarrassment and determination. I have been wrong. About humanity's methods. About the Crovar. About many things. I watched your Lieutenant Park Sora rescue my people's children from that camp. Children we had abandoned as acceptable losses. Miho said nothing, letting the ambassador continue. My government officially condemns you. But I personally want to help. The Peaceful Coalition has detailed navigational data for the Varix Nebula. We have been monitoring the region for decades. I am sending it to you now. Why? Because Ambassador Yuna Park invoked your Article 7. She chose death over submission to evil. That is not barbarism. I was wrong to call it such. It is the bravest thing I have ever seen. Thelnox's image showed his feathers raised in a gesture of respect. Bring her home, Admiral. And end this. The transmission closed. Miho looked at the incoming data. A complete map of safe routes through the nebula, regularly updated. Well, Saman said softly. Seems we are making friends. The hard way, Miho agreed. Alert the Third Fleet. We are going into the Varix Nebula. And we are bringing our ambassador home. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council's public plaza, something unprecedented happened. Civilians, beings from dozens of species who had lost loved ones to Crovar raids, gathered in a spontaneous demonstration. They held signs in 100 languages, but the message was the same. Thank you, humanity. Our children returned. Justice, not negotiation. The Galactic News Networks broadcast it live. The council representatives watched in silence as their own people celebrated the very actions they had condemned. In his private office, Thelnox saw the demonstrations and made a decision. He began drafting a proposal that would change everything. But it would have to wait until this crisis ended. First, they needed to rescue Ambassador Park and end the Crovar threat forever. And deep in the Varix Nebula, Vrax watched the human fleet approaching and knew with absolute certainty that his species' 2 centuries of terror were about to end. Humanity did not bluff. They promised, and they delivered. The Varix Nebula burned with the light of 100 human warships as the Third Fleet penetrated its outer boundaries. Commander Haywen Jean stood on the bridge of the destroyer Relentless, watching sensor data filter through the interference. Contact, the tactical officer announced. Crovar defensive grid activating. Counting 47 vessels, multiple weapons platforms, and the olive branch at the center of their formation. Using our own ship as a shield, Haywen muttered. Predictable. Fleet Admiral Miho Song's voice came through the fleet channel. All ships, this is Song. Remember, our people are on that diplomatic vessel. Precision is everything. Disable and board, destroy only when necessary. And somebody get me Commander Kim. Taeyong Kim was already in the hangar bay, checking his assault team's equipment. His soldiers, the best humanity had to offer, were stone-faced and ready. Commander, Miho's voice came through his helmet. We need that ship taken intact. Can you do it? Sir, we wrote the manual on ship boarding actions after the last raid. The Krovar are going to regret giving us practice. Then light them up. You have operational command once you are aboard. The human fleet split into 3 groups. The first engaged the Krovar defensive perimeter, drawing fire. The second targeted the weapons platforms with surgical precision. The third, including Taeyang's assault ships, accelerated directly toward the olive branch. Vrax watched the human tactics unfold and snarled in frustration. They are not even trying to negotiate. Bring the ambassador to the command deck. If they see her, they will have to. The olive branch shuddered as magnetic boarding pods slammed into its hull. Alarms screamed throughout the ship. Impossible. Vrax's tactical officer shouted. They are already aboard. How did they? Taeyong Kim's team cut through the outer hull in 4 locations simultaneously. They had studied the olive branch's blueprints for years. It was, after all, a human vessel. They knew every corridor, every access point, every weakness. Team 1, secure engineering. Team 2, life support and communications. Team 3, with me to the command deck. Move. The Krovar defenders never stood a chance. Human soldiers flowed through the ship like water finding cracks, their weapons speaking in short, precise bursts. Advanced armor shrugged off return fire. Tactical coordination was flawless. On the command deck, Vrax grabbed Ambassador Yuna Park, pressing a blade to her throat. Come closer and she dies. Taeyang's voice echoed from the corridor. Ambassador Park, status? Yuna, despite the blade at her neck, answered calmly. 12 hostiles on the command deck. Most of the crew is secured in the conference room. I am being used as a shield, but do not let that stop you. Wouldn't dream of it, ma'am. There was a smile in Taeyang's voice. Duck in 3, 2, 1. Yuna drove her elbow backward into Vrax's body and dropped. Flashbangs exploded throughout the command deck. Human soldiers poured in from 3 entrances simultaneously. The firefight lasted 8 seconds. When the smoke cleared, Taeyong knelt beside the ambassador. You look terrible, ma'am. You should see the other guy. Yuna glanced at Vrax's unconscious form, restrained by 2 soldiers. Is the crew safe? Already evacuating them. We need to get you to medical. After. First, I want to see this finished. The battle for Varix Nebula ended not with a climactic struggle, but with mechanical efficiency. The Krovar Syndicate's last stronghold fell within 6 hours. 47 pirate vessels destroyed or captured. Over 300 Krovar taken alive, a surprise as most had fought to the death. And deep in the stronghold's asteroid base, human forces found something that would change everything. Lieutenant Jaiwan Song led her team through the base's lower levels, following sensor readings. What they discovered made her stop cold. Command, this is Song. You need to see this. The base's holding facility contained over 2,000 beings. 2,000 slaves from 37 different species, including members of the Galactic Council's own diplomatic corps. Beings who had been declared dead years ago. Children. Scientists. Artists. All stolen, all forgotten. All very much alive. The footage went out across the galaxy within the hour. Human soldiers carrying children to safety. Medical teams treating beings who had not seen daylight in years. And most devastating of all, the testimony. A Valonian counselor's daughter, taken 4 years ago, describing how her government had paid a ransom but she had never been released. A Thesian scientist explaining how he had been sold to the Krovar by his own research director. A Pelthian child who could not remember anything but captivity. The galaxy watched and was forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. Humanity had not been barbaric. They had been right. Ambassador Yuna Park stood before the Galactic Council 3 days later. Her face still showed bruises, but she stood straight and proud. The chamber, usually filled with debate and argument, was absolutely silent. For 200 years, she began, the Krovar Syndicate terrorized this galaxy. They enslaved thousands. They murdered millions. And you negotiated. You compromised. You paid ransoms that funded more raids. You called it civilization. We called it cowardice. No one protested. Humanity did not want this war. But when evil takes hostages, when it murders innocents, when it builds an empire on suffering, there is only one moral response. Complete and total destruction of that evil. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Krovar Syndicate is gone. Every leader captured or dead. Every base destroyed. Every slave freed. We did this not just for humanity but for every species in this chamber. For the Valerian children. The Pelthian scientists. The Valonian younglings. For all the beings you abandoned because negotiation was easier than action. Ambassador Thelnox stood slowly. On behalf of the peaceful coalition, I formally apologize. We were wrong. And we thank you. One by one, other ambassadors stood. Not all of them, but enough. The Galactic Council passed the Vasquez Doctrine that day. A new protocol for dealing with hostage situations. No ransoms. No negotiations with terrorists. Swift military action to rescue victims. Humanity was offered a permanent seat on the Galactic Security Council. They accepted with one condition. That all freed slaves be given citizenship in any council species of their choosing, with full reparations. The council agreed. As Yuna left the chamber, Thelnox approached her privately. Your Lieutenant Park Sora saved my niece. I watched the footage. She was so gentle with the children. That is what we do, Yuna said softly. We protect the innocent, no matter the cost. A new memorial was erected on Earth. Not celebrating victory but honoring a principle. The inscription read simply, evil persists when good beings do nothing. And across the galaxy, pirates heard a new warning transmitted in every language. Humans do not bargain. They act.